Marcus Smart is looking to capitalize on his impressive shooting display against the San Antonio Spurs. After missing 6 consecutive games because of a back injury, the veteran guard made a triumphant return on Wednesday night, delivering his finest offensive performance of the current campaign. Smart connected on 8 3-point attempts and finished the game with a season-best total of 26 points, even though the Lakers ultimately fell short in the Emirates NBA Cup quarterfinals matchup. While Smart has built his reputation primarily on his defensive prowess and leadership qualities, this particular contest demonstrated his capability to catch fire from beyond the arc and become a legitimate scoring threat when needed. This kind of perimeter shooting is something the Lakers desperately need to complement their offensive attack. Throughout his professional career, Smart has never established himself as an elite long-range shooter. His career average from 3-point range sits at just 32.4% over his 12 seasons in the league. However, the ability to at least pose a credible threat from distance is essential for the team's offensive spacing and overall effectiveness. When opposing defenses can afford to ignore Smart's shooting and sag off him at the perimeter, it creates congestion in the paint and makes life more difficult for the Lakers' star players to operate. By showing he can knock down open looks consistently, Smart helps open up driving lanes and creates better opportunities for his teammates to attack the basket. Smart recognizes the importance of his shooting development and the work he has been putting in behind the scenes. He remains committed to his preparation and trusts that his dedication will eventually translate to more made shots during games. Speaking after the contest against San Antonio, Smart addressed his long-range shooting struggles and his hopes for building on this breakout performance. Smart emphasized that he cannot control whether shots ultimately fall through the net or bounce out. The only aspect within his power is how thoroughly he prepares himself to take and make those attempts. He detailed that he has been doing everything correctly in his training regimen and approach to the game. Wednesday night simply happened to be the evening when things finally clicked for him offensively. Smart expressed his hope that this performance will serve as a launching point for more consistent shooting moving forward. The realistic expectation is not for Smart to suddenly transform into an elite marksman from 3-point range. His lengthy track record suggests he will likely remain around his career average as a shooter. However, what makes Smart valuable is his willingness to take and make timely shots in crucial moments of games. He has shown throughout his career that he possesses the confidence to attempt high-pressure shots when the game is on the line. His primary contributions to the Lakers come through his defensive intensity, energy level, communication skills, and veteran leadership presence. These qualities make him an essential piece of the team's foundation. The perimeter shooting aspect simply serves as an additional bonus that makes the offense run more smoothly. If Smart can consistently knock down a couple of 3-pointers each game while providing everything else he brings to the table, he will establish himself as one of the most important and reliable role players on this Lakers roster. The coaching staff and Smart's teammates value his complete package of skills and intangibles. His defensive capabilities allow him to guard multiple positions and take on the opposing team's best perimeter players on a nightly basis. The game against the Spurs showcased Smart operating at peak offensive efficiency. It would be unrealistic and unfair to expect that level of shot making on a regular basis. However, the performance demonstrated what Smart is capable of achieving when his shooting touch is working. Moving forward, the goal for Smart should be finding consistency in his 3-point shooting rather than chasing spectacular scoring nights. If he can space the floor effectively and make defenses respect his shooting ability, it will create significant advantages for the Lakers' overall offensive system. Beyond his shooting performance, another crucial factor in Smart's return was his physical condition and how his body responded to game action. After sitting out for 2 full weeks dealing with his back issue, there were legitimate concerns about whether he would experience any limitations or discomfort when returning to competitive play. Immediately following the game, Smart provided encouraging news about his physical status. He revealed that he felt good throughout the contest and experienced no significant problems with his back during or after the game. This positive health update is arguably as important as his offensive production, as the Lakers need Smart available and at full strength to make their championship push successful this season. The timing of Smart's return and strong performance could not have come at a better moment for the Lakers. With the team positioning itself as a legitimate contender in the Western Conference, having all their key rotation players healthy and contributing becomes increasingly important. Smart's combination of defensive tenacity, leadership experience, and improving offensive consistency makes him a vital vital component of the Lakers' championship aspirations. His ability to impact winning in multiple ways beyond just scoring sets him apart from typical role players. As the season progresses and games become more intense, Smart's veteran presence and winning pedigree will prove invaluable to this Lakers squad. Questions are swirling around whether Dodgers owner Mark Walter overpaid for the Los Angeles Lakers franchise. An expert has weighed in on this topic with exclusive insights. During the opening weeks of their inaugural season under the newly approved majority owner Mark Walter, the Los Angeles Lakers are already presenting themselves as one of the premier squads in the Western Conference. The franchise appears poised to compete at the highest level under new ownership leadership. Currently holding a record of 17 wins and 7 losses, Los Angeles occupies the 4th seed position in the Western Conference standings. Guards Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves are both performing at an all-star caliber level throughout the early portion of the season. Doncic in particular is playing at such an exceptional level that he has positioned himself as a borderline candidate for the Most Valuable Player award. Of course, the reigning MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and his Oklahoma City Thunder squad may need to actually suffer another defeat or two before Doncic can realistically overtake him in the MVP conversation during this campaign. The 21-time All-NBA forward LeBron James, who holds the distinction of being the oldest active player in the league at 40 years of age, is gradually working his way into better form as the season progresses. His experience and basketball IQ continue to make him a crucial factor in the team's success, despite his advanced age for a professional athlete. The free agent signings of DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Jake LaRavia have significantly strengthened the Lakers' depth throughout the roster. Ayton specifically has been serving as an efficient two-way contributor at the rim, providing both offensive production and defensive presence in the paint. The Lakers currently face 2 distinct weaknesses that need addressing. The first concern involves their perimeter defense, which has shown vulnerability against opposing guards and wing players throughout games. The second issue relates to their pace of play, as the team has struggled at times to push the tempo and generate easy transition opportunities. However, Los Angeles also possesses some valuable tradable assets at this moment. The expiring contracts of Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent could appeal to other teams looking to clear salary cap space. Additionally, the Lakers still control their 2031 first-round draft selection, which represents significant trade currency in potential deadline deals. Despite these minor concerns, this remains a formidable basketball club with championship aspirations. Walter has already taken considerable measures behind the scenes to ensure that Los Angeles will have the robust front office infrastructure necessary to help the franchise compete for titles for many years into the future. The new ownership group has demonstrated their commitment to building a sustainable winning organization. Walter's Lakers have already made the difficult decision to lay off several scouts and other front office personnel as part of their organizational restructuring. This includes the departure of minority shareholders Joey and Jesse Buss, marking a significant shift in the franchise's power structure and operational approach. Walter, who has celebrated winning 3 World Series championships as the majority owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers baseball franchise, acquired the Lakers at a record-breaking valuation of $10 billion. This astronomical figure does not even account for the value of the team's home venue, Crypto.com Arena. The Lakers' sale to Walter represents the culmination of a banner year for NBA franchise purchases across the league. Earlier in 2025, a group led by private equity CEO Bill Chisholm successfully procured the Boston Celtics at what was then a record-setting valuation of $6.1 billion. The Lakers' sale eclipsed even that massive number. These transactions raise important questions about what kind of ripple effects the Walter purchase will generate throughout the rest of the league and its future trajectory. The nature of NBA ownership has undergone a dramatic transformation, where ownership was once primarily the domain of real estate tycoons like the late Jerry Buss. It has now ascended to the world of private equity and ultra-wealthy investors from diverse business backgrounds. This represents a fundamental shift in who can afford to own and operate these increasingly valuable sports franchises. An exclusive source familiar with deals of this magnitude provided insights on this transition in franchise ownership groups. The source explained that the transition in ownership types has already been underway for some time. Reports have indicated that Jeannie Buss had made estate planning a priority in her decision-making process. For families that have owned franchises of this caliber for generations, the team often represents their single most valuable asset. As these original owners reach a certain stage of life and begin contemplating succession planning, capitalizing on the current valuations that exist in the marketplace becomes critically important. The buyers emerging in these transactions are extraordinarily wealthy investors and consortiums who have accumulated their fortunes outside the sports industry. These individuals and groups have generated wealth through various other business activities and enterprises. They possess the substantial capital needed to further develop these franchises across multiple dimensions. Whether investing in stadium renovations, roster improvements through player contracts, or enhanced facilities and infrastructure, these new owners have resources that previous ownership groups may not have had access to. The source pointed to what Walter accomplished with the Dodgers organization as an example. Most observers expect to see many of the same improvements and investments happen with the Lakers under his stewardship. The source elaborated on this point, explaining that when ownership groups like this enter the picture with their considerable capital and additional resources from other investors in their consortium, they can provide assets and capabilities that the franchise may not have possessed previously. Based on Walter's track record and approach, expectations are high that the Lakers will benefit from similar treatment and investment. The astronomical price tag naturally prompts the question of whether Walter overpaid for the franchise. Given the significant uptick in the Lakers' valuation compared to the Celtics, and considering the NBA's documented struggles with television viewership in recent seasons, some skepticism seems warranted. Although early season viewership numbers are supposedly showing improvement this year, the long-term trends have been concerning for the league. The source consulted for this story maintains a more optimistic perspective on the purchase price. The assumption is that sophisticated firms advising on this transaction are actively engaged in this particular market space. These advisors are obviously considering current franchise valuations, future growth projections, expansion factors, and various other relevant considerations in their analysis. It stands to reason that the final decision was a thoroughly informed one based on extensive research and financial modeling. The Los Angeles Lakers represent one of the most popular franchises in all of American sports. Beyond the domestic market, they also maintain a significant global presence and brand recognition. The NBA, compared to other major American sports leagues, has established itself as a truly global entity. Evidence of this can be seen in how much the league has prioritized the globalization of basketball and the NBA brand in international markets. The purchase price may seem aggressive, but there are likely growth factors built into the valuation that Walter is paying today. The bet is that the league will continue expanding and that ownership will be able to tap into different revenue streams over time. These potential revenue sources could include increased global reach through international games and marketing, or finding new ways to monetize the franchise through emerging technologies and platforms. The trend over the last decade across sports properties has been consistent growth in franchise valuations. This pattern extends beyond just the NBA to encompass numerous sports properties across different leagues and continents. While there may be some element of speculation in the current price, it aligns with the broader trend that has defined sports franchise valuations in recent years. The source suggested that growth factors and future potential are being taken into consideration, but emphasized that this approach is consistent with the trend across various sports properties, not unique to this particular NBA transaction. According to reporting from The Athletic's Sam Amick, the team's front office is actively exploring options to shore up their perimeter defense before the trade deadline passes, as certain franchises across the league find themselves struggling dramatically, including the 6-18 Sacramento Kings and the 3-22 New Orleans Pelicans. Opportunities may emerge for the Lakers to benefit from these struggling organizations. Teams on the brink of organizational implosion often look to move veteran players or young talent that does not fit their timeline. The Lakers could potentially benefit from acquiring some of the young talent currently stuck on rosters that appear headed toward tanking the remainder of this season. During a recent appearance on FanDuel TV's Run It Back program, Amick shared intelligence he had gathered about the Lakers' trade priorities and targets. He revealed that he spoke with a source who indicated that the Lakers are specifically looking for a player who fits the 3-and-D profile. This designation refers to players who can defend at a high level while also providing reliable three-point shooting to space the floor offensively. Amick specifically mentioned that potential targets could include players like Keon Ellis or Herb Jones, both of whom fit the exact profile the Lakers are seeking. Ellis has established himself as an exceptional three-point shooter throughout his young career, converting 42.4% of his attempts from beyond the arc. This elite shooting percentage makes him an attractive option for any team seeking perimeter scoring punch. Beyond his offensive capabilities, Ellis has also developed into a strong defender who competes hard on that end of the floor. He could realistically carve out a meaningful role in the Lakers' rotation if the Sacramento Kings decide they are willing to part ways with the fourth-year player who played his college basketball at Alabama. The Kings' disappointing season may force them to consider moving pieces that have value in the trade market. The Lakers' championship window has arguably never been more wide open than it is right now since they captured the Larry O'Brien Championship trophy during the 2020 bubble season in Orlando. That championship seems like a distant memory given all the roster turnover and organizational changes that have occurred since that title run. With LeBron James very likely approaching the end of his Lakers tenure after this season concludes, the urgency to capitalize on this opportunity has never been greater. The front office understands they may not have another chance to build around a player of James's caliber and championship pedigree. The Lakers would be well served to adopt an all-in mentality for the 2025-26 season and aggressively pursue a trade for a young player who can provide an immediate boost to the roster. The ideal acquisition would be someone who brings value as both a reliable deep shooter who can space the floor and a strong defender who can guard multiple positions. This combination of skills would address the team's most glaring weakness while also complementing the offensive firepower already in place with Doncic, James, and Reeves leading the attack. The front office must balance the desire to preserve future assets with the understanding that championship windows do not remain open indefinitely. The trade deadline typically generates the most activity in early February, giving the Lakers several more weeks to evaluate their roster and identify the perfect target. However, the front office must also be prepared to act quickly if an opportunity presents itself before the deadline arrives. Rival teams will also be pursuing similar players, creating competition for the available talent on the trade market. The Lakers' willingness to part with their 2031 first-round pick and the expiring contracts of players like Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent gives them the flexibility to construct various trade packages depending on who becomes available. The ultimate question is whether the Lakers can identify and acquire the right piece without sacrificing too much of their core or future flexibility. The challenge facing the front office involves finding that perfect balance between aggressive pursuit of championship glory this season and maintaining the assets necessary to remain competitive in future seasons. With championship expectations firmly established and a limited window to maximize this roster's potential, the Lakers must navigate these trade discussions with precision and strategic thinking. The decisions made in the coming weeks could ultimately determine whether this season ends in championship celebration or playoff disappointment.